What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Model Breakdown. It's been a while, but this is a series in which I look at one particular kit in question, be it a single model kit, a full-on squad kit, vehicle, monster, what have you, and I give you a breakdown of what that kit is, anything worth noting about that particular kit, and then from there I go into some thoughts and ideas and opinions on that kit in question, likes and dislikes and so on. Just giving my basic general thoughts on the kit. From that, I go into talking about building and painting said kit in a very basic sense, kind of a foundational sense. I haven't done everything, but I've done enough where I definitely feel confident that I can lay out a basic plan of attack for basically any kit at this point. And the idea behind it is to help newer players feel a little less overwhelmed by looking at a kit, and also just for those who aren't new to making miniatures, offering my own thought path. Because when you have the ability to listen to more than one person, the more than one person's approach, I should say, to something, you can further refine your process, which is always cool. So, with that being the case, after that, I am going to talk about whether or not I think the kit needs to be redone, and regardless of that fact, if it needs to be redone or not. If UW said, hey, we were doing it tomorrow, what would I like to see done and why? So it's been a while, but this is a special edition. It's Tanksgiving, and that means we got to talk about tanks. So I'm going to talk about a pretty iconic tank kit, and it's actually going to be multiple kits talking about at the same time. The Land Raider. This will also encompass the Land Raider, Crusader, and Redeemer, and the Chaos Land Raider kit. The Chaos Land Raider kit is just the Land Raider kit with some Chaos sprue details, like spikes and dragon's head for the front of the barrels and whatnot. I call it dragon's head, but it's just, for a leering mouth barrel and spiky bits and some pintle-mounted details for the Land Raider. It's the basic Land Raider kit. Everything's the same with Chaos additional stuff. It's actually not a bad kit idea if you're trying to not build a Chaos kit, but you want to have, maybe you have a dragon motif going on or whatever. You can use those barrel ends for that. Or if you're trying to do spikes in a way that doesn't make it scream Chaos, if you're trying to make a really particularly ragged looking, mean looking thing, it might be the way to go. But it's just the standard kit, so I'm not going to reference it too much specifically, because when I talk standard Land Raider kit, it's basically the same thing with Chaos extra bits. With that said, it is, I believe, the same price, so I believe you get everything that the standard Land Raider is, and then the extra bits on top of that to make it Chaosified, that you do or do not use, depending upon how you feel. Now, with that said, the Crusader kit can build either the Crusader or the Redeemer, and I don't think it has the standard Land Raider bits included. I think they replaced that with the Crusader and Redeemer weapon bits. This is an improvement over the old Crusader kit, which was basically the standard Land Raider kit that has, or had, I should say, because it's no longer the same thing. The old one had the Crusader bits in pewter, and it was awful. I have one of those, and I'm pretty sure all the Hurricane Bolter pewter parts have fallen off yet again. It's an absolute nightmare in comparison to being all plastic. So a definite improvement. And with that said, I love the Land Raider kits. They are iconic tanks of destruction. Space Marines have them. Even Chaos Space Marines have access to it. Grey Knights have it. Custodes have Relic Land Raiders. It is big, mean, in charge. It is, on the Imperium side, it is a scary tank that, the scariest, potentially, you could say, that isn't a super heavy. And truth be told, I think it's just shy of basically being in super heavy territory in terms of lore and size and lore and whatnot. There was even the Terminus Ultra for Apocalypse, and you have the Land Raider Ares variant as well, which isn't a kit, but the Land Raider Ares isn't a kit specifically. The Terminus Ultra, I think, was at one point. I don't think it is anymore. But regardless, it's just the standard Land Raider, Crusader, and Redeemer are fantastic kits. Detail is great considering their age. They're not new kits by any means. The Redeemer and Crusader are probably the newest additions, but it's still the basic Land Raider body with their weapons. What's cool is there's moving parts, just like you can have moving parts on the Rhino chassis, you can have moving parts here. The side sponsons you can have rotate, side to side. The central sponson with a twin-linked heavy bolter or a twin-linked assault cannon can move side to side as well. The front assault ramp doors can be made to open and shut, which is really cool, which lets you see inside to the interior detail that's there. So it's a very well done kit in that regard, especially for its age. And I think the benefit is it's a decently sized tank, and they were able to do that with the technology of the time. Nowadays, you would kind of expect it, but it's cool that for as old as the kit is, it has that going on. And being a big box, basically, with panel lines and whatnot on it, the detail is good. It's crisp for its age. It's not like infantry detail. Vehicles kind of hold their age better, or not so much hold their age. Vehicles detail hold up better. That's a better way of putting it, I feel. Depending upon the vehicle, of course. So, with that being said, I really do enjoy these kits. They are not cheap, especially not anymore, but a worthwhile addition, a good staple point. They're going to draw a lot of fire. Whenever you feel the Land Raider, everybody wants to gun it down because it's a Land Raider. Not only is it a beefy battle tank in its own right, it's also more than likely going to be loaded with danger because it's a transport. And with assault doors or assault ramps, you can blitz out of there and lay down the hurt. Whether it's full of Vanguard veterans, whether it's full of Terminators, whatever it's full of, is not going to be good for your opponent. Because it's going to get, chances are, unless they lay down the heaviest of firepower against the Land Raider, it's going to get there. So, really cool kit for that reason. A really cool model. I really like the lore around it and everything. And it is just really cool looking too. So, I like the kit, I guess you could say. And this is not, Rogue Trader era had a smaller Land Raider that looked more like the pre-Heresy Land Raider art design that you might have seen from the Horus Heresy card game or whatever else. So this is definitely a 40K era, post-Heresy era Land Raider design. With that said, if you want to build and paint this thing, it's over 100 bits or 100 different components, so bits you could say, regardless of which one you're building. Dry fit things as you put sub-assemblies together. Definitely do sub-assemblies before you completely build the sponson weapons to make them rotate and whatnot. Get them painted up. It'll be easier because the little frame they go into is going to be hard to access certain points with the weapon in the way. If you're going to build the front access ramp to open and close, it's beneficial to do so, paint it up before really getting too crazy with everything, because it's just going to be easier when you sandwich it all together. Do the tank treads separate as well. I've built a few Land Raiders in my time, and doing the tank treads separate definitely is helpful. Doing the doors you want to open and close separate before gluing all together, and of course don't glue the things you want to move, is also very helpful. You can do some minor touch-up work after the fact. It's just, for the bulk of it, it makes it easier. The top of the tank is one big piece for like the body on the top. You're going to have a little bit of seam or gap potential fillers you have to do. Nothing super disastrous, but it is more likely going to be a case. So just, dry fit it, get an idea of where you might have to do it. When you do glue it down, you're going to want to have like all the rubber bands you can and just rubber band sandwich it down. I recommend plastic glue. It gives you more working time. And you just rubber band it all down as tight as you can. Make it so nothing is sticking up from the glue because it's, from tension or anything. And it's all rubber band down to hold as best as possible, and then you can work with the gaps and seams. And then, carefully glue in the what's the word I'm looking for? Carefully glue in the tank treads and what have you. So, sub-assemblies, paint, build, dry fit, as you go, and you should be fine. It's not really that bad of a kit. It's an older kit, and it's just a lot of pieces because there's a lot of stuff to build. Truth be told, it's not that hard. Just take your time, dry fit before gluing, paint and sub-assemblies. Paint up the interior if you want the doors to open and you're going to look at it. Definitely recommend painting that up. People can get pretty frisky, and there's room to get frisky here in terms of doing lighting. If you want to do LEDs and stuff, there's plenty of room to do that with these Land Raider kits. The Chaos Land Raider kit includes, like I said, extra bits to either glue on the Land Raider or to chop the barrel front off and put these little dragon demon head things on, if you so desire. The Crusader and Redeemer, you just build the specific weapon side sponsons you want. And when it comes to the sponsons, the standard Land Raider shows the weapons. Okay, the two sides, the left and right sides of the Land Raider, have two spots potentially for the doors. One of them is a door, an access point. The other one is where the weapon sponson goes, the side sponson. For the Imperial Land Raider, the standard Land Raider twin link glass cannons are in the back position all the time, as showcased. You can put it in the front. In fact, the Chaos Land Raider has it mounted in the front for its picture purposes. So you can do either. The Land Raider Crusader and Redeemer have always been showcased with their weapons in the front. So it's a bit of a style thing on top of functionality, you could say. So it's up to you. Just some things to keep in mind there. Loads of potential to flex your freehanding capability or practice your freehanding capability because of the big flat surfaces of the doors and just the Land Raider itself. A lot of really cool spaces for transfers, for extra detailed bits like purity seals or candles or whatever else to make it a mobile shrine. Forgel has a bunch of Land Raider upgrade doors, so you can really, really specialize it and tune it in and make it your own, which is really cool. So that's just some thoughts for building and painting in general. Do I think these kits need to be redone? Not necessarily. Yeah, the power plant portion on the back could become even crisper with more details on it. It could get monolith, meaning it may be made perhaps a little bit bigger. I do believe the new monolith that's coming is bigger than the old monolith. So I wouldn't be opposed to it becoming a little bit bigger in dimension, but I don't think they need a redo. Tanks really kind of hold their own for a long time kit-wise, and there's nothing that really screams needed, right? So as much as I love refreshing kits, and I would have nothing against a Land Raider being updated, there's something when I look at it that I think needs to be done. If perhaps they could design a simpler opening mechanism just to make it that much user-friendly for building it, so you can open the front assault ramp doors, sure. Now, the Land Raider Mark IIB from Forgel is a whole different animal. I've been talking about that here. But the standard Land Raider, the Chaos Land Raider, and the Crusader Redeemer kit, I think they are great as is, and they would need one heck of a update with either extra options and bits or whatever to really justify it. I just don't see it. However, if UW said, we're going to update it tomorrow, what I would like to see is perhaps a little bit more interior detail, perhaps the power plant being updated a little bit more, perhaps the side weapons, there's nothing wrong with them, but maybe looking just a little bit beefier in terms of visuals, could definitely be fun. But they don't look flimsy. It's just, hey, making them even beefier looking, maybe. And just maybe including some extra bits and MacGuffins to make it look cooler, in terms of adding detail to it. But there's really not much I want to see them do. Maybe make it just a little bit bigger in size. Maybe make it have a footprint that's just a little bit bigger and worthy of it without getting into super heavy territory. The one thing that would be cool is to see what they could do to mitigate seams. They're really good with infantry and hiding seam lines, or seams and mold lines and whatnot. And it's a little bit difficult for a big box that is a Land Raider, but if they could, that would definitely, I think, be a fantastic update to the thing. But really, I think it looks great. I really don't know what else they could do to it. Maybe add more weapon options if they're going to go crazy and give it more weapon options. Then, yeah, obviously you want to see that reflected, but we don't have that going on. So, unless they do that, not much else to add, in my opinion. Anyways, I guess one thing, because I think Forgel used to do this, but I don't do it anymore. For the Chaos Land Raider, it uses the same tank tread, which has the Imperial Eagle on it. Maybe give them like a Chaos Undivided symbol bit or whatever to replace that. That would be it. Anyways, that's it for my thoughts on the Land Raider, the Land Raider Crusader and Redeemer, and the Chaos Land Raider kits. I decided to bunch them all together because they are so similar. The only difference is weapon options or having a Chaos sprue included. It's the same base chassis. But, and also it's Thanksgiving, so it's definitely worthy talking about them all together as one because they are mighty tanks indeed. So, thanks a lot for sticking through with it. Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And until next time, take it easy.